Now we're gonna wrap it up with one last very good thing. This is kind of a game changer, this type of function. Let's say we have a component that we only want to use sometimes. Let's say we have a sequence. Let's say we have a sequence. The sequence could be started with a clock, but let's say we have it running on and off all the time. I just took the sequence for demoing purposes. Doesn't have to be a sequence. Here you have an enable checkbox. You got a true and a false. And you have a repeat. So if I take it to repeat, it's going to be going on and off all the time, all the time. If I disable it, it's not going to work at all. What fun would that be? Well, the cool thing is something called sync pin. And that is this one. You have a pin. Look down here, you have the start, you have the clock. If I change this to Boolean sync pin, you're gonna have an enable. So that means you can connect a true or false signal over here to start or stop the whole component. And this you can do with pretty much all the stuff. If you have, let's say you have a timing over here at the element. Okay, let's say we wanna change the timing with a potentiometer. Use a sync pin. Now we have another value over here. So now you can change the value on the fly. It's gonna be default 1000 milliseconds. It's gonna be 1 second as a default. But if you like, you can use it like this. Sorry, I'm gonna take char to text. So in this way we could use it from serial terminal to decide how long the waiting period for the first clock output. But it could be connected to an analog, let's say we have analog to unsigned. Could be using something from a potentiometer as well, like that. But this could be a bit weird one. You need to scale it up, because otherwise it's going to be from 0 to 1. On the potentiometer the signal is going to be 0 or 1 or anything in between. The scale could be ramped up to a bit higher value. Let's say you have 10,000. 10,000. Because it's going to be using, the day is going to be using milliseconds. So milli is 1,000. So it's going to be going from 0 seconds to 10 seconds in that case. So this is, as I told you, it's a game changer. This makes all the difference in the world. Let's say you have a fixed value, text value. I'm gonna show a quick demonstration of this in action. So the text value could be typed in here from start. This is my start value. Alright. When I start the sketch, or Arduino is powered on, it's going to send this value at first. But if I want it to change, I need to use a sync pin. Sync pin. Now you might have noticed when I use the Boolean, it's said Boolean sync pin. So when I'm using a digital signal, for example, when I was turning something on and off, it's true or false, that's Boolean. Then it said Boolean sync pin. And when I was using an unsigned, I think, it says cardinal sync pin, I think. Forget about the first part, the string or the cardinal or boolean or whatever. It's the sync pin that's important. That's all it does. It does the very same thing, all of them. It just makes an extra input for that value on that specific property. If you need more than one input signal to change the value, let's say you have 2 potentiometers or 2 serial readings or something, you use the multisync pin. Then you can connect more than one connection. But if it's only one, I'm going to use only one. Now, as you might have seen, I have an extra little input. That is the actual value. So it's going to start with this value, then it's going to keep on using this value. So whatever I type. And it's going to send this to the input and upload the code. Alright, connect. I'm going to send the start message first. This is my start value. After that, it's not going to send any new values unless I change it. Changed value. Voila! So now it's just sending it, passing it through. It's not useful for many things at all, but the whole idea is to show the sync pin, and you can find sync pin in most components. Most properties on most components. You can enable, disable this one. You can ignore some cases or not. You can not change the compare type, but you can make a change to whatever value you want to match it up with. So you see value, the name value, and the text you want to compare it to. It's quite useful. It's very, very strong feature. It's going to be used quite often when it's made when you're making a bigger sketch. I showed you earlier, then it was a bit too advanced, but I'm going to show it again. The Nexion display. Okay, the Nexion display has its own language. You can change properties, values, move from pages on this display with commands. I showed this before. I used the command. You have these commands in several other components, but you can use it manually. And here's the cool part. When I write the command, I can clock it, and it's going to clock this value, whatever I type in here. But as you see, I can use the sync pin. This is awesome. So now I could just take chart to text and multi-text it out to 2. I'm gonna show it. You've seen this before. Oh, sorry. Take the first one to the command. First it needs the value, and then what to do with the value. It's gonna clock it. So in this way I can make a way to debug the display when using this software to make sure it gets the values. I can manipulate the Nexion display when I'm programming it from Visuino, just to make sure it gets every value I want and stuff like that. Very, very useful. So that's it. That's sync pin. That's the last thing in the beginner series. It's quite advanced. It's not really beginning, but it's a game changer, and I want you to know about it. Because it changes the whole concept on inputs and outputs on different components. Very, very useful. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.